endocarditis. The anatomy of the heart covered by 3 layers, and the outer layer we called as pericardium, and the middle layer called as myocardium, and the inner layer is the endocardium. And the definition of endocarditis is nothing but the inflammation of the inside lining of the heart chambers and the heart walls. Mainly it will be affecting the endocardium, and mainly the endocarditis caused by bacteria or any viral fungal infection. Coming to the causes of endocarditis, it caused by infection, that is bacteria or fungi or any germs, and mainly it will be if the patient is having any cut injury, open injury, or through the mouth, if they are not providing the proper oral hygiene, these all the things will be causing the endocarditis, and if it's not treated quickly, finally the patient may develop endocarditis and can damage and even destroy the heart valves. The main causes of endocarditis, that is improper dental hygiene, if it's toothbrushing is not done properly, and the catheters. The patient is having any urinary catheters or any central venous catheters, and if it's kept for a long time without assessing properly and kept for more than 14 days, it may cause an infection and finally leads to endocarditis. And illegal IV drug users, the people, mainly the teenagers, those who are taking illegal drugs, they may be using not properly, maintaining that aseptic technique, so repeatedly using the same needles, which will also a carrying of bacteria and will cause an infection and enter the heart and infect the endocardium. Coming to the risk factors, and the risk factors mainly the older age, the adults above age 60 may lead endocarditis, and the people those who are having artificial heart valves, that is prosthetic heart valves, that is very often they may go for rejection and endocarditis and damaged heart valves. Certain medical condition like rheumatic fever or infection, these all the infection will be damaging the heart valves and increase the risk of infection. And even the patient is having any congenital heart defects, the defects at the time of birth, so this causes an irregular heartbeat or abnormal heart valves, and this may be also susceptible to infection. History of endocarditis, already the repeated episodes of infection in the endocardium, that is a greater risk of future heart infection. Then poor dental health, so that is the person has not maintained the proper dental health, so it will be causing an invasion of bacteria through the mouth, and it may enter into the bloodstream through a cut on the gums and may infect the heart. Implanted heart device. So the implanted heart device, like the patient those who received the permanent pacemaker implantation for any arrhythmias, heart block. For mainly the complete heart block, the patient will be in permanent pacemaker implantation. Actually the battery should be changed every 5 hours, and if it's not changed properly and if the patient has not taken actual precaution, it may causing the endocarditis. Then again long-term catheter use, any IV catheter or indwelling urinary catheter, any catheter, if it's used for a long time, it may cause a risk of endocarditis. Types of endocarditis, there are 3 types: acute endocarditis, subacute endocarditis, and prosthetic valve endocarditis. Coming to the pathophysiology of endocarditis, so here mainly any valve abnormality or prosthetic valves. The prosthetic valves is nothing but the patient those are undergoing a valvular replacement surgery or any native valve damage, any damage in the valve. These all the things will be causing a thrombi with the fibrin and platelets. So formation of thrombi, a blood clot or the formation of platelets, and this causing a bacteria adhere to thrombi and proliferate. So once the bacteria is adhering to the thrombi, it's started a multiplication. So finally it leads to endocarditis affecting the valves and vegetations. And here then The right side, the source of bacteria, like IV drug users, abusers, and the patient those are undergone any dental procedures, if it's not done in a proper sterile technique, and even any skin infections, open wounds, and surgical procedures, all the things will be, there will be an invasion of bacteria in the bloodstream. This also will be causing the bacteria other to thrombi, and started multiplication leads to endocarditis, and finally leads to vegetation. So the vegetation is nothing but an abnormal growth upon a body part. Coming to the symptoms of endocarditis, and the endocarditis may develop slowly or suddenly, and depending on what germs are causing. So the symptoms may be different from one person to another person. So how severity of the symptoms depend upon how long they are having the infection, and so what is the type of the horse depend upon, it may vary from person to person. Common signs and symptoms we may see that aching joints, that is pain joints, and muscles, that is myalgia we will say, then chest pain when breathe, fatigue, flu-like symptoms such as fever and chills, night sweats. Shortness of breath we can see, and swelling in the feet, legs or abdomen, and a changed heart murmur, so that will be heard when the blood rushing through the heart. And less common signs or symptoms, there may be unexplained weight loss, and the patient may complain of blood in the urine, and it may be visualized through microscope, and tenderness in the spleen, so which is an infection fighting organ located, that is the spleen located just below the left rib cage. Then red spots, you can see the diagram, it's the soles of the feet or the palms of the hand. Here you can see the palm of the hand, there is a lesion, that is red spot lesion. Then medically we call this Janvey lesions. Janvey lesion is nothing but a red spot lesions, mainly we will be noticed on the feet or the palm of the hand. Then red tender spots. Red tender spots we can notice under the skin of the fingers or toes. That is also called as Osler's nodes. That we can see the red tender spots under the skin of the fingers. Then tiny purple or red spots. It's also called as petechiae, and mainly we can find this in the skin with the whites of the eyes or inside the mouth. Coming to the diagnostic evaluation, based on several factors. So we will start from the history collection, physical examination, auscultate the lung sound, and blood culture test. So the blood culture will be helps to identify the bloodstream. Blood culture mainly we will assess what type of organism present, and based on that whether we can start the antibiotic. And complete blood count, we say that total count and differential count, WBC, neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, and we can also rule out anemia. Echocardiogram mainly the sound waves produce images of the heart, and here mainly we can assess by having the echo. The heart chambers and the walls and the pumping action also we can monitor, and we can also monitor the ejection fraction of the heart. Then transthoracic echocardiogram, through the sound waves detect the heart from a wand-like devices. That is, the transducer will be placed on the chest, and it will be producing a video images of the heart in motion. Transesophageal echocardiogram, it's very closely we can monitor the heart walls. So here the transducer attached to the end of the tube is inserted down the tube. So a tube will be introduced through the mouth into the stomach, and it will be placed through the esophagus, and this just provides more detail, a clear picture we can detect how the transthoracic echocardiogram. Electrocardiogram, that is ECG, to measure the timing and duration of the heart beats. This not actually a diagnosis of endocarditis, but we can assess the ECG rhythms, leads, and the activity of the heart. Then chest X-ray. The chest X-ray we can find out the size of the lungs and the heart. Then computer tomography and MRI of the brain and chest or other parts. Here we can find out the spread of infection to those areas. Coming to the treatment, so once we have finalized the diagnosis, that is endocarditis, better should not waste the time. Very fast we should start the treatment, because heart valves are more precious, so better avoid the final damage of the heart valve, because very fast the patient may develop complications. So as soon as the blood culture we have assessed, immediately we should start the IV broad spectrum antibiotic to prevent final suspected bacterial species. And the antibiotics commonly adjusted based on the sensitivity of the organism, and a long of 6 weeks of antibiotics should be given. And on through we have to monitor the symptoms of the patient, and after the course of treatment better we can repeat the blood culture of the patient. Surgery, removal of all infected tissue, drainage of abscess, then repair of the heart tissue, repair of replacement of the affected bone. Then surgery for endocarditis is very specialized and demanding, so it's a very extensive experience and reconstructive method, and that is mainly we will be using homografts, that is human cadaver valves. Cadaver valves, that is already the patient also died, dead patient's valves, artificial valves we can use, and transesophageal cardiogram. Mainly at the time of doing the procedure, the valve replacement surgery, along with the before and after and during the procedure, we will be doing the transesophageal echocardiogram in order to guide it. Mainly the transesophageal echocardiography helps the surgeon to guide and ensure the valve function, whether it's optimal or what. Debridement is nothing but removal of infected or dead tissue. That if the infection has affected only the valve leaflets, better we can remove that valve leaflets, and the infection has affected more of the valve, and if it's affected the heart, better then debridement will occur, more technically difficult approach, because only a small amount of tissue damaged, only the tissue or the valve leaflets damaged, the debridement will be helpful. Then coming to the valve reconstruction, depending upon the specific surgical case, the valve will be replaced. So the process is mainly made up of biological, mechanical or a homograft. So most of the patients will be preferring the homograft because it is more effective with the severe aortic valve endocarditis. So what is the care we will give for the patient after surgery? So after surgeries, the patient will be receiving 6 weeks of antibiotic therapy, and the type and duration of the therapy may differ from one person to another person. It will be depend upon the blood test, that is culture report of the patient. And so here, and it's not the only measure after doing the surgery, the patient's signs and symptoms, everything will go off and the patient will feel better, because the endocarditis, most of the patients, there may be a chance of reoccur, so we should advise the patient should be very careful. The patient should avoid infective people, and better we have to take precautions and advise the patient to continue the antibiotic treatment, avoid fungal related infection and all hygienic measures. Coming to the nursing diagnosis, decreased cardiac output secondary to valvular dysfunction from infective process. Outcome criteria: patient alert and oriented, skin warm and dry, pulses strong and equal bilaterally, oxygen saturation. Nursing intervention, patient monitor, mainly we will be monitor the pulse pressure, central venous pressure if the patient has a central line, and BP every hourly, and urine output, the patient will be in catheter, so every hourly we have to monitor the urine output, and the patient will be in continuous cardiac monitor, so continuously we should monitor the cardiac rhythm. And patient assessment, again we will be assess the hemodynamic monitoring, that is heart rate, respiratory rate and BP every hour more frequently. And we should also monitor any changes in the neurological function and assess for skin warmth, color and capillary refill time, and distal pulses, that dorsalis pedis pulse, their strength, regularity and symmetry. Coming to the patient management, so we should start with the oxygen through that is 2 to 4 liter to improve oxygenation and minimize the oxygen demand and decrease anxiety. So we should reassure the patient, strict bed rest and administer multi-IV antibiotic regimen. So more than 2 regimen the patient may be receiving at a time. 2 or 3 type of antibiotic treatment will be given to the patient to fight against infection, and even we will administer antipyretics and prepare the patient for anticipated surgical intervention to repair or replace affected valves.